If your dead best friend ever texts you, I'm standing behind you, don't laugh. Don't turn around. And whatever you do, don't go back to the place where he drowned. Because I did. And now, I'm not even sure which one of us actually died that day. It started on a dull gray afternoon, not rainy, not sunny, just drained, like the world had been slightly desaturated. Artem and I were standing outside our apartment building, arguing for the third time that week. "Let's go to the lake," he said, already smiling like he'd won. I felt that tight feeling in my chest again. "I told you, I don't like that place." The lake sat just outside town, near an old forest where a village used to be. Now there's nothing but broken concrete, weeds, and the remains of a wooden dock slowly sinking into the water. People call it Black Mirror. They say the surface doesn't reflect the sky right. It reflects something else. Artem laughed. "You actually believe that witch story?" I didn't want to. But everyone in town knew it. A long time ago, villagers supposedly drowned an old witch there. They said she wasn't normal, that she could exist in parallel realities at the same time. Multiple lives. Multiple versions of herself. But only in one reality was she fully real, physical. The others were like shadows. And if she died in that real one, she'd just continue living in another. "That's just old people trying to scare kids," Artem said. "Someone probably drowned and they needed a creepy explanation." "Or maybe someone drowned because of it," I muttered. He ignored that. "We'll swim, chill for a bit, and leave. Stop overthinking." "I've got a bad feeling," I admitted, "like something's wrong about that place." He smirked. "You watch too many horror videos." Maybe I did, but this wasn't just fear. It felt heavier, like a warning I couldn't explain. "Let's just go to the river." I tried again. "It's safer." He crossed his arms. "Either we go to the lake, or I'll go by myself." That's the problem with Artem. When he decided something, it was locked in. And as much as I hated the idea of that lake, I hated the idea of him going there alone even more. So I sighed. "Fine, but we're not staying long." He grinned. "Relax, it's just water." "Yeah, just water." I remember glancing at the sky one last time before we left. For a split second, I swear the clouds looked like they were moving the wrong direction. Like the world had already started shifting. And we just didn't notice. We got to the lake around late afternoon. The forest was too quiet. No wind, no birds, just that heavy silence that makes you feel like you're being watched. Artem didn't notice. Or maybe he didn't care. "See? Totally normal," he said as we stepped onto the old wooden dock. The boards creaked under our weight. Some of them were dark and soft, like they'd been rotting for years. The water was still, too still. No ripples, no movement. It looked thick, dark, like oil. I stared at it for a second too long. "You coming or what?" Artem asked, already pulling off his shirt. I hesitated. The surface of the lake almost looked reflective, but not in the right way. The sky above us was gray, but in the water, it looked darker, almost night-like. "Does it look weird to you?" I asked. He stepped closer to the edge and looked down. "It looks like water." But when I stood beside him, I could swear my reflection moved half a second too late, like it was copying me instead of being me. I blinked. "Normal again." "Bro, you're freaking yourself out," Artem laughed, and before I could say anything else, he jumped in. The splash echoed louder than it should have. The sound felt wrong, stretched out. He came back up grinning. "Cold, but good!" I forced myself to breathe and jumped in too. The second I hit the water, my chest tightened. It wasn't just cold. It felt heavy, like something was pressing against me from every direction. We swam out a bit, splashing each other like idiots. For a few minutes, everything felt normal. I even started thinking maybe I'd overreacted. Then I noticed something. The dock looked farther away than it should have been. "Did we swim this far?" I asked. Artem turned around. "What? No way!" But the shore definitely looked more distant. and the forest behind it seemed darker now, thicker. "Let's head back," I said. We started swimming toward the dock. That's when I felt it. Something brushed my leg. I froze. Probably weeds, I told myself, just underwater plants. Then Artem stopped moving. "You feel that?" he asked. "Yeah," I said quietly. The water around us felt colder. My breathing got heavier. "Okay, not funny," Artem muttered, even though neither of us was joking. Then he suddenly jerked downward. At first, I thought he dove under on purpose. But he didn't come back up. "Artem?" I called. Bubbles surfaced where he'd been. Then his hand shot out of the water for half a second. Not waving, grabbing. Like something was pulling him down. I swam toward him fast, heart slamming in my chest. I reached for his arm, and for 1 second, I touched him. His skin was ice cold. Then something pulled harder, and he was gone. The water went still again, like nothing had happened. I dove under, eyes open, ignoring the burn. It was dark beneath the surface, way darker than it should have been. And for a split second, I swear I saw two versions of him. One sinking, and one standing. Far below, watching me. I shot back up to the surface, gasping for air. "Artem!" I screamed, my voice cracking across the lake. No answer. The water was calm again, too calm, like it had swallowed the sound with him. I dove under again, ignoring the panic clawing at my chest. My eyes burned as I forced them open. Everything was dark, not just murky, but wrong, like the light didn't reach properly. And then I saw it again. Two shapes. One was clearly Artem, sinking, limp, drifting deeper like a body with no control. But a few meters behind him, something else stood upright on the lake bed. It had his shape, his height, his build, but it wasn't moving like someone drowning. It was standing still, watching. I blinked underwater and the second figure was gone. Just darkness and the faint outline of Artem disappearing below. I couldn't hold my breath anymore. I came up coughing, heart pounding so hard it felt like it would explode. "Help!" I shouted, even though I knew no one would hear me out here. The forest stayed silent. I tried diving again, but the cold was different now. It wasn't just temperature. It felt like pressure, like the lake didn't want me there anymore. My limbs started feeling heavy, my movements slower. And for one terrifying second, I felt something wrap around my ankle. I kicked hard. Nothing there. But I didn't try again. I swam back to the dock as fast as I could. My arms felt weak, like I'd been in the water for hours instead of minutes. When I pulled myself onto the wood, I collapsed, shaking. I waited. I don't know how long. 5 minutes, 10, maybe more. I kept staring at the surface, expecting him to pop up laughing and call it a prank. He never did. The lake stayed perfectly still. Eventually, I forced myself to stand. My legs barely worked. My whole body felt numb. I should have called someone immediately. I should have jumped back in. I should have done something. But all I could think about was that second figure. The one standing. The one that looked like him. I grabbed my clothes with shaking hands and ran. I didn't look back at the water. Not once. The entire walk home felt unreal. The sky looked darker now, like evening had fallen too fast. My phone showed 6:12 p.m. That couldn't be right. We'd gotten there around 4. There was no way that much time had passed. When I finally reached my building, my hands were still trembling. I kept replaying it in my head, his hand reaching up, the cold grip, the thing below the surface. And that image wouldn't leave me. 2 Artems. One drowning, one watching. That night I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him standing at the bottom of the lake. Not struggling, just waiting. And around 3:17 a.m., my phone lit up. My phone lit up at exactly 3:17 a.m. I remember the time because I stared at it for a full 10 seconds before touching the screen. My room was completely dark. I hadn't slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Artem sinking, and that other version of him standing still at the bottom of the lake. The notification was from him. Artem. For a second, I felt relief. Pure, stupid relief. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe he made it out. Maybe he swam to the other side and went home. My hands were shaking when I opened the message. "I'm standing behind you." I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because my brain refused to process it. "This isn't real," I whispered to myself. My door was closed. My room was empty. I was alone. I slowly turned my head toward the dark part of my room near the shka. Nothing. I swallowed and typed back. "Very funny. Where are you?" 3 dots appeared instantly. Typing. My heart started beating so loud it felt like someone was knocking from inside my chest. Then another message came. "Why did you leave me there?" The air in my room felt colder. "I didn't leave you," I muttered. "You went under." "I tried." Another message. "You didn't try hard enough." My breathing got uneven. My brain kept trying to find logic. Maybe someone took his phone. Maybe he got out and was messing with me. Maybe this was some sick joke. I hit call. It rang once. Twice. Then he picked up. I froze. I could hear breathing. Soft, slow, calm. "Artem," my voice cracked. "Where are you?" A short pause. Then his voice. Normal. Clear. "I'm at home," he said. "In my room, playing games. Why are you freaking out?" Everything inside me stopped. "What?" I whispered. "I got bored after you left. I came home," he continued casually. I could even hear keyboard clicking in the background. "You okay?" My mouth went dry. You drowned," I said quietly. Silence. Then he laughed. "What are you talking about?" I stood up too fast, almost dropping the phone. "I saw you go under. I tried to grab you." Another pause. Then his tone changed. Slightly lower. "You're the one who went under." My stomach dropped. "No," I said immediately. "That was you." "You disappeared," he replied. "I tried to grab you." The room suddenly felt smaller. "That's not possible," I whispered. He exhaled slowly. "Come over," he said. "I'm literally sitting at my computer." And then he added something that made my blood run cold. "You look pale, by the way." I wasn't on video. I wasn't near a camera. "How do you know that?" I asked. But the line had already gone dead. Call ended. I stared at my dark screen. For half a second, I thought I saw movement in the reflection behind me. But when I turned around, nothing. 5 minutes later, I was outside, running toward his house. Because if Artem was really home, then who did I watch drown? I don't even remember the run to Artem's house. My legs just moved on their own. The streets were empty, street lights flickering like they couldn't decide whether to stay on or give up. It was still early morning, around 4 a.m. His house looked normal, one light on upstairs, his room. My chest tightened. If this was some kind of nightmare, it felt way too detailed. I knocked on the door harder than I meant to. A few seconds later, the porch light turned on. His mom opened the door, wrapped in a robe, clearly confused and irritated. "Why are you here at this hour?" she asked. My mouth felt dry. "I need to see Artem," I said quickly. "He just called me." Her expression changed instantly. Confusion turned into something else. "What?" "He called me, like 10 minutes ago. He said he's in his room." She stared at me, like I'd just said something disgusting. "That's not funny," she said quietly. "I'm not joking," I replied. My voice was shaking. He's upstairs, right? Her face went pale. No, she said slowly. He's not. My stomach dropped. He came home. I insisted. He told me he's playing games. Her breathing became uneven. You know exactly what happened yesterday, she whispered. The words hit me like a punch. Yesterday. Not tonight. Yesterday. Don't do this, she said, her voice breaking. We identified him this evening. The world felt like it tilted. Identified. Evening. That's not possible, I said immediately. We were at the lake this afternoon. He drowned. I saw it. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, she said. He drowned. My hands started shaking again. But he called me. I whispered. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind. You need to go home. No, I said. Let me see his room. She stepped in front of the doorway. You need to stop. I'm not lying, I snapped, panic rising in my chest. He said he's upstairs. Her face hardened. This is cruel. That word hurt more than anything else. Cruel. Like I was mocking her. I'm not, my voice cracked. Please, just let me look. She hesitated for a second. That was enough. I pushed past her and ran inside. Hey, she shouted behind me. I took the stairs 2 at a time and reached his door. It was slightly open. The light was off. No keyboard sounds. No screen glow. I pushed the door fully open. The room was empty. The bed was neatly made. His computer chair was pushed in. The monitor was off. No warmth, no signs anyone had been there recently. I stepped inside slowly. Artem? I whispered. Silence. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. I checked his desk. No phone, no headphones, nothing out of place. It felt untouched, like no one had used it in days. His mom appeared in the doorway behind me. You see? She said, her voice trembling. Please leave. Reality started collapsing inside my head. He called me. I heard him. I heard the keyboard. You're lying, I whispered, but I didn't know who I was accusing anymore. Her face broke completely. Get out. The weight of everything hit me at once. The lake. The drowning. The messages. Slowly, I walked out of his room. Out of the house. I muttered an apology I barely remember saying. And when I stepped outside, I finally broke. I collapsed on the sidewalk and started crying. Because either I was losing my mind, or something from that lake had followed me home. And as I sat there shaking, my phone started vibrating again. My phone was vibrating in my hand while I was still sitting on the sidewalk in front of his house. I didn't want to look. I already knew who it was. The screen lit up. Artem calling. My chest felt hollow. For a few seconds, I just stared at it. If I didn't answer, maybe none of this would be real. Maybe I could still wake up. It kept ringing. Finally, I swiped to answer. I didn't say anything. Neither did he, just breathing. But this time it sounded different. Not calm, not normal. Shaky. You went to my house, didn't you? He asked quietly. My blood ran cold. How do you know that? I whispered. I told you not to, he said. You told me to come over, I snapped. I was just there. Your mom said they identified your body yesterday. Silence. Then, they identified yours too. Everything inside me stopped. No, I said immediately. I'm alive. That's what I thought, he replied. My breathing got heavier. What are you talking about? There was a long pause. I could hear wind on his side. Not keyboard clicks anymore. Not a room. Wind. I went home, he said slowly, after you went under. I tried to grab you, but something pulled you down. I couldn't reach you. That's not what happened, I said. You were the one who got pulled. That's not what I saw. My head started spinning. I didn't sleep, he continued. I kept thinking maybe you got out somewhere else, but then your mom called the police. My heart skipped. What? They found a body, he said. My voice barely came out. Whose? Yours. The word felt impossible. That's not real, I said. I'm literally standing outside your house. No, he replied softly. You're not. A chill spread through my entire body. I'm at the lake right now, he said. I froze. Why? I needed to see it again, he answered, to make sure. The wind on his side grew louder. It looks different, he added. How? The dock is broken like it's been like that for years. My stomach dropped. It wasn't broken when we were there. It looks abandoned, he continued, like nobody's been here in a long time. That's not possible, I whispered. And there's something else. My grip tightened around the phone. What? There are 2 sets of footprints on the mud. My throat closed. One goes into the water, he said. And the other? A long pause. The other comes out. The air around me suddenly felt heavier. Artem, I whispered, are you messing with me? No. His voice cracked. I think we both drowned. My brain refused to process it. That doesn't make sense. Unless, he said slowly. Unless what? Unless only one of us is real in this version. A distant splash echoed through the phone. He stopped breathing for a second. Did you hear that? He whispered. Hear what? The water. My hands started shaking again. Artem, leave. Just get out of there. But his voice had changed. Lower. Colder. It's not empty, he said. And then, very quietly, I can see you. I can see you. The words didn't just scare me. They broke something inside my head. I'm not there, I whispered. I'm nowhere near the lake. You're standing on the dock, Artem said quietly. You're just not moving. My heart started pounding so hard it felt painful. That's not possible, I said again, but my voice sounded weaker now, less certain. I'm looking at you right now, he continued. You're facing the water, same clothes, same haircut, but you're not reacting. The wind howled through his phone speaker. Artem, listen to me, I said, trying to stay calm. I'm outside your house. I just left. No, he said, you're here. A long silence stretched between us. Move your hand, he suddenly said. What? Move your hand. If you're not here, nothing will happen. My breathing became shallow. Slowly, I lifted my right hand. There was a pause. Then I heard him inhale sharply. You moved, he whispered. Ice ran through my veins. But you didn't move like that, he added. My stomach twisted. What do you mean? You lifted it too slow, like you were copying yourself. The world felt unstable, like the ground beneath me wasn't solid anymore. Artem, I said carefully, describe what I'm doing right now. Another pause. You're still standing there, he said, but your head, it's tilted. I froze. I'm not moving, I said. Your head is tilted to the side, he repeated, and you're smiling. My blood turned to ice. I'm not smiling. His breathing became shaky. You are. The streetlight above me flickered, and for a split second, I saw my reflection in a dark car window beside me. My head wasn't straight. It was slightly tilted. And my mouth. I wasn't smiling. But my reflection was. I stumbled backward, almost dropping the phone. Artem? I whispered. What is it doing now? He didn't answer immediately. Then, it just stepped off the dock. A splash echoed through the call. But I was nowhere near water. I heard him start breathing faster. It's walking toward me. That's not me, I said. I know, he whispered. Another splash. Closer. It's not sinking, he said, voice shaking. It's walking under the water. The call crackled for a second, like interference. Artem, leave, run. But he didn't move. "I think," he said slowly, "I think that's the version that survived." My chest tightened. Survived what? The switch. The wind suddenly stopped. The line went silent. "Artem," I said. No response. Then I heard something else. Not from the phone. Behind me. A faint sound. Like wet footsteps on pavement. I turned around slowly. The street was empty. But when I looked back at my phone screen, the call was still active. And the audio was no longer coming from his side. It was coming from somewhere very close. Breathing. Right behind me. The breathing wasn't coming from the phone anymore. It was behind me. Slow, wet, close. I couldn't move. My whole body felt locked in place. My brain was screaming at me to run, but my legs refused. The call was still active. On the screen, I could see the timer going up. 0 hours, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. 0 hours, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. 0 hours, 2 minutes and 43 seconds. But Artem wasn't speaking. The breathing behind me got heavier. Drip. Something hit the pavement. I forced myself to turn around. The street was empty. No one there. No footsteps. No shadows. Nothing. But the pavement behind me was wet. Like someone had just stepped out of water. I looked down. There were footprints. Bare. Leading toward me. And they stopped exactly where I was standing. My heart was pounding so hard I felt dizzy. "Artem?" I whispered into the phone. Static answered me. Then his voice came back, but distorted. "You weren't supposed to look at it." My stomach dropped. "Where are you?" I asked. "At the lake," he replied. "No," I said, "you're not." A pause. Then, calmly, "I don't think either of us is where we think we are." The streetlight above me flickered again. I slowly turned my head toward the dark window of the car next to me. I didn't want to, but I had to. My reflection stared back. Normal. Pale. Terrified. Then it blinked. I didn't. I froze. In the reflection, my head slowly tilted to the side again. My real head stayed still. And then it smiled. Wider this time. Too wide. My phone vibrated violently in my hand. A new message from Artem. "It's behind you." I didn't turn around. I couldn't. Instead, I kept staring at the reflection. It stepped forward. But I didn't move. It leaned closer to the glass from inside the reflection. Its face almost touching the surface. Water started dripping down the inside of the window. From the reflection side. Not mine. My reflection raised its hand. Slowly. Like it was reaching out. And I felt something cold wrap around my wrist. Not tight. Just resting there. Like a warning. I dropped the phone. The call ended. The screen went black. And in that black surface, for a split second, I saw two of me. One standing on the street, and one standing at the bottom of the lake. Watching up through the water. Smiling. Then my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One message. We switched. The dripping water echoed through the old store. Every step I took felt heavier, like the air itself was trying to hold me down. Artem stood a few feet away, calm but tense, his eyes never leaving mine. The mirror on the wall reflected both of us, and yet something was wrong. I stepped closer, unable to stop myself. The reflection in the cracked glass moved slightly differently than I did. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. "You see it too, right?" I whispered. Artem nodded. "It's not us, at least. Not fully. One of us stayed behind. Or maybe both of us switched places with something else. Something that looks like us but isn't." I swallowed, trying to make sense of it all. So what now? How do we fix it? He took a deep breath, stepping closer. "We have to go back." "Back to the lake?" My voice cracked. No way. That place? Yes, he interrupted firmly. It's the only way to know who's real and who isn't. One of us has to confront it. Or maybe both. We don't get another chance. The air in the store seemed to thicken. I could feel a presence behind me. Slowly, I turned. The cracked mirror shimmered, as if the glass itself was wet. And for a fraction of a second, I saw my reflection, smiling wider than I ever had. It wasn't me. Something inside my chest screamed. I grabbed Artem's arm. If we go, we might not come back. He held my gaze. Then we go together. That's all we have. We left the store, the wind blowing harder, whispering through the broken windows. Outside, the streets were eerily silent, but the lake waited at the end of the road, dark and still, like it always had. When we reached the dock, my stomach twisted. The water looked thicker than before, darker, 2 sets of ripples spread across the surface as if the lake was alive. I heard a voice behind me, not Artem's, my own voice. Only it wasn't me. Step closer. I froze. Artem whispered, "That's it, that's the switch." The water seemed to pulse. Then something broke the surface. A figure shaped exactly like me. But its eyes were black, empty. It grinned. My heart froze. Artem grabbed my shoulder. Remember, it can't exist in both realities at once. One has to stay. I took a deep breath, stepping forward. The figure mirrored my movements, matching every twitch, every heartbeat. My hand reached out, and it reached back. Everything went black. I felt weightless. Then cold, then nothing. When I opened my eyes, I was on the shore. The lake was calm again, too calm. Artem was beside me, shaking. I looked down. My hands, mine. I was real. He was real. The reflection, the other me, was gone. For now. But I know it's still out there, somewhere, waiting, smiling, watching. And if I ever get a text from a friend saying, "I'm standing behind you," I won't turn around. Because I know what's really behind me. The dripping water echoed through the old store. Every step I took felt heavier, like the air itself was trying to hold me down. Artem stood a few feet away, calm but tense, his eyes never leaving mine. The mirror on the wall reflected both of us, and yet something was wrong. I stepped closer, unable to stop myself. The reflection in the cracked glass moved slightly differently than I did. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. "You see it too, right?" I whispered. Artem nodded. "It's not us, at least. Not fully. One of us stayed behind. Or maybe both of us switched places with something else. Something that looks like us but isn't." I swallowed, trying to make sense of it all. So what now? How do we fix it? He took a deep breath, stepping closer. "We have to go back." "Back to the lake?" My voice cracked. "No way." "That place?" "Yes," he interrupted firmly. "It's the only way to know who's real and who isn't. One of us has to confront it. Or maybe both. We don't get another chance." The air in the store seemed to thicken. I could feel a presence behind me. Slowly, I turned. The cracked mirror shimmered, as if the glass itself was wet. And for a fraction of a second, I saw my reflection, smiling wider than I ever had. It wasn't me. Something inside my chest screamed. I grabbed Artem's arm. "If we go, we might not come back." He held my gaze. "Then we go together. That's all we have." We left the store, the wind blowing harder, whispering through the broken windows. Outside, the streets were eerily silent, but the lake waited at the end of the road, dark and still, like it always had. When we reached the dock, my stomach twisted. The water looked thicker than before, darker, 2 sets of ripples spread across the surface as if the lake was alive. I heard a voice behind me, not Artem's, my own voice. Only it wasn't me. "Step closer." I froze. Artem whispered, "That's it, that's the switch." The water seemed to pulse. Then something broke the surface. A figure shaped exactly like me. But its eyes were black, empty. It grinned. My heart froze. Artem grabbed my shoulder. Remember, it can't exist in both realities at once. One has to stay. I took a deep breath, stepping forward. The figure mirrored my movements, matching every twitch, every heartbeat. My hand reached out, and it reached back. Everything went black. I felt weightless. Then cold, then nothing. When I opened my eyes, I was on the shore. The lake was calm again, too calm. Artem was beside me, shaking. I looked down. My hands, mine. I was real. He was real. The reflection, the other me, was gone. For now. But I know it's still out there, somewhere, waiting, smiling, watching. And if I ever get a text from a friend saying, "I'm standing behind you," I won't turn around. Because I know what's really behind me.